Today we're revealing the 5 silent signs that your internal landscape is changing, inching you away from your independent travel spirit. It's a peculiar feeling where joy in travel diminishes, not because of physical limitations, but because of something far more insidious: a quiet decline in risk tolerance, cognitive load management, and logistical resilience. These cognitive shifts often sneak in long before any physical signs of aging do, quietly altering how we perceive the challenges and adventures of travel. We'll explore these nuanced shifts, encouraging you to look within and assess where you truly stand. As we embark on this journey together, be prepared to be brutally honest with yourself. After all, understanding is the first step towards reclaiming your travel independence. As we continue our journeys into new locales and experiences, there's something that quietly starts imposing itself upon our travels: the silent challenge of low-stakes decision fatigue. This isn't about the physical hurdles we might face. Rather, it's the cognitive load, the mental exhaustion that creeps up as we navigate unfamiliar environments. Traveling, especially independently, involves a myriad of decisions. Should you take a left or a right at the street corner? Is it a museum day? Or perhaps an afternoon lounging in a street cafe? People watching. Each decision might seem trivial in isolation, but when compounded over the duration of a trip, they can lead to a heavy fog that clouds the joy of traveling. This mental haze is what we often hear described as travel brain fog. It's an outcome of having to make one too many decisions, day after day, sometimes without the comforting predictability of home. What once might have been a stimulating challenge now becomes an overwhelming mountain of decisions. Some travelers, especially those who've been exploring the world independently for years, notice that they begin to shy away from spontaneous plans, looking instead for the comfort of pre-arranged itineraries. Take the story of Anne and David, a couple well into their 70s, who had seen the jewels of Europe by coach tours many times over. A few years ago, they decided to embark on a more spontaneous trip across Italy. After a couple of days, the constant need to strategize their every move, from finding the perfect trattoria for lunch to choosing the easiest route back to their hotel, began to weigh heavily on them. Anne found that she was spending hours each night meticulously planning the next day's route to avoid the unpredictability of city streets and train schedules. David noticed that they stopped making those small, in-the-moment detours that they once thrived on. By the end of the week, they were more exhausted than exhilarated, craving the simplicity of decisions being made for them, even if it cost some of that adventurous spirit. As such experiences become more frequent, the preference leans towards delegating these decisions. Independent travelers may start appreciating guided tours where someone else handles the logistics, or perhaps opting for comprehensive travel packages where their main concern is simply to enjoy. There's no shame in this shift. It's a natural adaptation to maintain the joy of travel while conserving mental energy for the experiences that truly matter. Furthermore, with this cognitive shift, the need for more downtime becomes apparent. Recovery time after a day of exploration isn't just a physical requirement, but a mental respite. Older travelers often find themselves factoring in rest days or leisurely afternoons to recalibrate and avoid the mental burnout that ensues from overscheduling. The loss of low-stakes decision fatigue signifies a change in how we wish to experience the world. Recognizing this change allows for adapting our travel style, ensuring that the love for exploring new places remains intact, just with a slightly different approach. It's about striking a balance, finding ways to keep the joy of travel alight while safeguarding well-being and mental peace. Financial travel anxiety is quietly weaving its way into the tapestry of your travel plans. You might not have noticed it at first, but slowly, this self-imposed psychological barrier starts to influence every decision you make. It begins with what we call the risk premium for comfort and security. Despite nowadays having affordable travel costs at your fingertips, the emphasis shifts from excitement for the journey to a relentless pursuit of minimizing discomfort and perceived risks. The narrative begins when Carol, a devoted traveler in her early 60s, finds herself triple-checking reviews and safety ratings before booking any hotel or flight. In the past, Carol wouldn't think twice about hopping on a budget flight to a new destination or staying at a quaint little guest house with shared amenities. But now, the checklist grows longer with each trip. Refundable tickets are non-negotiable. Non-stop flights become a standard, even if a layover saves a significant amount of money. Hotels must feature extensive security measures, vetted through copious reviews, and a premium might even be paid just to ensure those additional layers of peace of mind. This journey of traveling shifts from anticipating the wonders of the destination to ensuring every what if is covered, leading to an unintentional joy shift. Insurance, once a simple tick box exercise, now becomes a core focus of pre-trip planning. Scouring through insurance policies becomes as complex as planning the travel itinerary itself. The endless questions dangle overhead. Is the coverage comprehensive enough? What if the policy doesn't include pandemic coverage? The focus on insurance shifts from ensuring protection to dwelling on potential mishaps, a paradigm shift that inadvertently exchanges independent, spur-of-the-moment decisions with preemptive policies and constraints. This undercurrent of financial travel anxiety doesn't just stop at securing comforts. It erodes the vibrant spirit of the backpacker mindset that once defined an era of travel adventures. Remember those days when grabbing a local bus or train rather than a taxi was part of the thrill? When the thought of sharing a dormitory in a hostel was exciting rather than intimidating? Now, any deviation from perceived comfort or any money-saving option, even if mildly inconvenient, feels utterly untenable. Take David's story, inspired by many travelers who, like him, found themselves avoiding even the mildest inconveniences. During a trip to Barcelona, with a well-researched travel plan in hand, he sidestepped many opportunities to save €1 here or there, just because they posed a slight inconvenience. Choosing a pricey restaurant over a local street food vendor, or picking a pricey taxi over embracing the city's vibrant metro system, it quietly nibbles away at the independence he once cherished. But rather than allowing this anxiety to siphon off all the pleasures of exploring the world, consider an antidote, embracing just one low-cost inconvenience on your next trip. Say yes to a bus ride instead of a private transfer, opt for a local homestay as opposed to a chain hotel, or test your patience with a long train journey instead of a quick flight. These choices could provide not only financial relief, but also reignite the feeling of curiosity and self-reliance that conquers fear and feeds freedom. In doing so, you'd retain cognitive flexibility, a vital asset that encourages adaptability in new and unexpected situations. Let these experiences be a gentle reminder that being slightly uncomfortable doesn't need to spell a loss of freedom. Instead, it can lead to newfound confidence in your ability to navigate the world independently, regardless of age. Have you ever noticed how, the moment you set foot in a new destination, you start comparing every little detail to what you're used to back home? This is what we call the homeward gravity phenomenon. It's that powerful and often subconscious pull towards the comfort and predictability of home, a feeling that can quietly end your travel independence before you even realize it. Imagine for a moment Margaret, a spirited 68-year-old traveler with a love for history and architecture, embarking on what she thought would be the journey of a lifetime to Rome. She had dreamed of walking through the ancient ruins of the Colosseum and sipping espresso in a quaint cafe by the Trevi Fountain. But rather than resonating with the excitement and novelty of the Eternal City, Margaret found herself longing for her morning coffee, brewed exactly the way she did it every day at home. The thrill of discovering new pastries at an Italian bakery turned into a deep yearning for her own kitchen and the familiar taste of her favorite toast and marmalade. As the days went on, instead of immersing herself in the vibrant Italian culture, she found herself mentally jotting down things she missed about home, her favorite armchair, the crispness of her own sheets, and even the unchanging routine of her daily newspaper crossword. Margaret realized on a guided tour of the Vatican that she was constantly checking her watch, calculating the time back home, and thinking about her evening walks with her neighbor Helen. It dawned on her that her tolerance for the minor inconveniences of travel, like long lines, unpredictable public transport, and crowded attractions, had diminished greatly. The familiarity of home, with its comfortable rituals and predictable routines, has a way of making any destination feel insufficient by comparison. It's an emotional gravity that can prevent you from even forming those ambitious travel plans you used to dream about. The thought of not having your essentials, like that perfectly steeped cup of tea or your own reliable pillow, might start to overshadow the potential joy of standing in places you've only read about in history books. To combat this, many find solace in replicating familiar home rituals even while on the road. Bringing a favorite mug, carrying a familiar book, or watching a beloved TV show at the end of a long day could help bridge the gap between the new and the known. Nevertheless, it's important to recognize when this homeward pull becomes more than just a comforting thought. Acknowledging the anxiety that disruption to established routines can cause is the first step in remaining open to the unpredictable wonders of travel. So, is this longing for the familiar a sign that travel is fading away from being an exciting adventure, turning into a source of discomfort? Perhaps, but recognizing it is empowering. It's about finding balance, not just within your travels, but also between the richness of newfound experiences and the comfort of what's familiar. It's about allowing distance to not only create longing, but also fill you with a renewed appreciation for the tapestry of unfamiliar places. The fourth sign that aging may be quietly ending your travel independence is the retreat from unmanaged time. Many seasoned travelers who once thrived on the thrill of spontaneous adventures may now find themselves retreating from days that lack structure. This shift often emerges from an increasing reliance on pre-scheduled activities, where the comfort of having every detail ironed out seems appealing. Consider the story of Harold, a once avid explorer who loved nothing more than packing a small bag and jetting off to a new city, letting serendipity guide his days. But, as time wore on, Harold found himself gravitating towards guided tours and organized itineraries. While once he embraced aimless wandering through winding streets, discovering hidden gems and local treasures by chance, he now sought the reassurance of knowing precisely where he would be at every hour of the day. This transition wasn't immediately clear to him until a trip to Barcelona. Harold had intended to explore Las Ramblas at his own pace, but the mere thought of straying from his prearranged activities filled him with a sense of unease. The unpredictable allure of the Spanish streets was overshadowed by the anxiety of not having every moment accounted for. So instead, Harold joined a group tour of the Gothic Quarter, appreciating the ease of walking in step with a guide, but feeling a subtle sorrow for the individual experiences he unknowingly traded away. The issue for many, like Harold, isn't reluctance to embrace curiosity. It's the comforting predictability of being shepherded through a destination without the burden of decision-making. This comfort, while valuable at times, can lead individuals away from the unplanned discoveries that originally sparked their love for travel. So how does one counteract this inclining dependency on structured time? A useful approach is to practice unstructured time management at home. Begin by dedicating a day to exploration, without maps or schedules to dictate your path. Spend time in your own town or city, taking side streets you've never walked or visiting parks at off-peak hours. Engage with the unfamiliarities you encounter and allow the environment itself to place unexpected wonders in your path. Adopting such exercises can help nurture a rediscovery of the joys that come from unplanned moments, reminding you of the spark that once fueled your adventures. Re-engage with those feelings of freedom, allowing them to reignite your confidence and comfort with the spontaneity of independent travel. Remember, the unstructured times are where the magic of discovery happens. Reclaiming your independence involves embracing those very moments, where the thrill of the unknown awaits around every corner, and the story of your travel begins anew with every unscripted step. Sign 5. The inherited travel independence. As we grow older, the joys of travel often evolve, requiring adjustments and support. You may not even realize it, but reliance on a younger companion for your travel experiences might be subtly altering the fabric of your adventures. Travel, once an exhilarating dive into the unknown, might increasingly need a reliable anchor. That anchor often comes in the form of a younger family member or friend, stepping into roles that perhaps you've barely noticed but certainly relied upon. There's an unnoticed choreography that unfolds during these trips, where your travel companion takes care of everything, from booking flights and accommodations to keeping up with your medication schedule and making sure you don't miss that connecting train. This is what we could call the hidden chore list. Consider Helen and her grandson, Greg. Their trips together started as a mutual love for exploring new cultures and landscapes, but slowly, things began to change. Greg, once a fellow adventurer, transformed into the logistical organizer, the timekeeper, and the indefatigable security aid. Without sounding a word, he seamlessly adjusted the pace of walking tours, orchestrated rest stops, and constantly stayed an extra step ahead to ensure nothing amiss could compromise their plans. Unbeknownst to Helen, Greg's invisible hand was always at work, silently shaping their journey to align with her current needs and capabilities. Millions of travelers carry with them what we might call a guilt tax, an internal struggle that emerges when realizing that their presence might be limiting the younger travelers' opportunities for spontaneous discovery, nightlife exploration, or venturesome activities. When Helen realized how Greg had missed a local concert he was excited about because the timing coincided with her need to rest, it became a silent echo, a whispering concern that her presence might halt more than she knows. Travel tales that were once filled with stories of breathtaking sceneries and cultural revelations seem to shift focus subtly, but inevitably. These narratives begin to dwell more on successful navigations through challenges, missing luggage, long layovers, or reconciling canceled plans due to fatigue. The reality of this inherited travel independence often unveils itself in candid moments. Perhaps you find yourself overhearing a conversation, a mention of potential solo travel plans in hushed tones over breakfast coffee. It becomes evident that what once was a shared journey of excitement is evolving into a responsibility shouldered more than equally by your young companion, a delicate balance between their aspirations and your comfort. Recognizing these signs is not meant to deter your travel spirit, but rather to spotlight the dynamics at play, encouraging openness and dialogue with your companion. It's about fostering a partnership of understanding and gratitude, keeping the spirit of exploration alive in its most genuine and fulfilling form for all involved. So, let's reflect. On your next journey, what convenience are you willing to relinquish to rediscover the core of your travel independence? Remember, each step towards acknowledging your current capabilities opens up new pathways for meaningful exploration. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on living and traveling independently. Keep exploring on your terms.